question. I guess there's two levels. There's one level is sort of organizationally. That's one whole thing unto itself. Like, how do you get people together and organize, and how do I run the band sort of like, you know, just function-wise as far as people's opinions and their input into the band and stuff like that. That's one question. I guess the question you're asking me more is musically, while we're playing. I listen to everybody, and you know, I guess it's basically feeling. You know, while I'm playing, I'm just trying to listen and feel what's going on. It's hard to describe. I only feel that way when I'm playing and creating music in this manner, really. There's a lot of times I'm playing music that I'm not really into, you know, with other bands or just working or whatever, and you know, it's a different scenario. But with this band, I'm really listening and really trying to feel and shape the music together with people. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think of it as sort of a bold kind of, you know, sort of a bold sound, you know, and warm and full. You know, that's what I'm trying to go for, basically. You know, I see certain colors and stuff, you know, but I can't really describe it. So.
Well, that's still kind of a new thing because Jeb and I have only been playing together for the last 4 or 5 months since we did the record. We probably started playing together in October and met for the first time then, maybe September. So it shifts quite a bit, and I think it'll probably continue to shift. I don't mean that in a negative way, that we're trying to figure out what our role is, although sometimes we certainly are. But we do different things at different times. Sometimes, yeah, I mean, that's a really hard question because the answer changes so much. I mean, we might play something like the first tune we did tonight, the Hampton tribute, Fred Hampton tribute, where Jeb's functioning more texturally towards the end, while the bass and the guitar are playing the ostinato, and I'm pretty much the prominent solo voice out front. But we might do the reverse, like we did on Paper Tiger, where Jeb's really sort of the featured solo voice, and I'm providing some textural or contrapuntal backgrounds of some sort. Sometimes we're both soloing on a fairly equal level, both improvising together, playing together. Sometimes, you know, playing separately, not doing similar things at all. So we change roles quite a bit, I think. I mean, Jeb's very capable of playing in a free setting and playing in a very structured setting with harmony and playing melodically, playing very lyrically. So, and I like to think of myself as the same kind of player. So we can exchange roles in a way that we couldn't if one or the other of us was a little bit more limited.
Well, there were some personnel changes when I first started. We had a different saxophone player and a different bass player, and then musically, I'd say we've just gotten more accustomed to playing the material and playing with each other. I mean, when I started, I hadn't played with any of these guys that much.
I just try and play a lot of colors, you know. Let's try and fill up space, like complement, like more just be ultimately complementary to what everybody else is doing, you know. I just try and color it up, fill up space. That's basically
For me, this makes me deal with some things I don't deal with musically in some of my other projects. Specifically, it's a little bit closer to straight-ahead jazz than a lot of the stuff I do in other contexts. So I deal with harmonic information in a different way in this band than I do in many of the other things I do, for example.
The thing with bass is I think that you have to sort of accommodate, or you want to, at least I try to accommodate everybody and bounce around from everybody's point of view at different times in the music and just try to play the right thing at the right time and not ever focus on one thing for too long. I mean, I might try to jump on an idea Ted's doing, or I might totally disregard what he's doing and jump on something that Parker's doing texturally or with anybody, or I might try to completely disregard everybody and do my own thing, but still try to make it, you know, pertinent in some way to what's going on in the moment.
I mean, I feel like the band is really great about having a sense of the distinct personalities of the musicians involved. So.
I feel a very strong connection with Ted's playing in particular. I find it easy to play with him. And you know, some drummers are easy to play with and it's not very much fun, it's not exciting, the aesthetic's not right. And some drummers are very interesting, what they're playing is very exciting, but they make it very difficult for you to play, for you to express yourself. And I don't really want either one of those extremes. For me, he keeps me guessing and keeps me interested, yet because of the way he plays the time and his phrasing, his touch on the drums, the sound he gets out of them, all of those things, I find him very easy to play with and very, you know, it brings melodies out of me, it brings different rhythms out of me. It's very conducive to improvising for me.
think one time Ted said that was kind of cool. You try to get with the overall vibe, the overall sort of feeling that the person is playing with. So Ted has a certain way that he renders a groove, and so does Parker. And then you try to just get in the middle of all of their things, and sometimes it can be a compromise, you know.
With this band, I'm really listening and really trying to feel and shape the music together with people. So there's times where I'm sort of trying to lay back and accompany people and let them get their thing across and sort of get their back and either push them a little bit or just accentuate certain things they're doing or give them sort of a blank canvas to work with. And there's other times where we're interacting more. I might push them a little bit more or light a fire under their ass a little bit.
You just try to play it as much with the people that you're playing with.
A real openness to whatever people bring to the music, you know. I mean, there's not any kind of sense of this has to be like this or this has, it's more like this is the material, and we find a way to make music out of who we are as musicians and what the music is. So, yeah, there's a real willingness to get everybody to contribute their personal thing. You know?
You really try to play with them. You don't try to, you know, be dogmatic about where like the beat is and stuff. You have to just sort of compromise sometimes, and to try to for the greater good of the music. You know.
It goes through different things while we're playing, but I guess, you know, generally speaking, I'm just trying to listen as much as I can and just react, you know, feeling things out with people, you know, and talking with each other through our instruments, basically. Yeah. I might end up, at various points, I've ended up basically without a band because I just couldn't find the right people for this group. I'm trying to do something sort of specific, and I can't, if Jeff can't make it, you know, Bradfield or something, I can't just say, oh, I need a tenor player, let me call some guy up, you know. I might replace him with another instrument because I'm more interested in personalities than I am instruments. Like Jeb Bishop ended up in the band right now because of his personality and his sound on his instrument. He could have been playing the kazoo, you know, and I would have still had him in the band, you know. So that's why some people ask me, oh, the instrumentation has changed over the years. You don't have cornet, why? You know, what happened? And all along since I started, I picked people based on their sound, on their instrument, and their approach to music, and their creativity, and not what instrument they're expressing it on. That's secondary to me. What I try to do is I try to find people where there's some chemistry right off the bat, you know. I've tried different people, like when I've needed to sort of replace people in this band, and there's some people that I've tried that just, I play with them once and I could just know it's not going to work out, you know. There's got to be some connection that I'm feeling with people while we're playing. I don't like to have to explain everything all the time to people. If I have to explain too much to a musician what to do, then they're not the right person, you know. They need to kind of know sort of and feel what's going on. And of course there's times where I need to give some, you know, direction or say this needs to be a little faster, or play it a little bit more like this, but it's more fine-tuning stuff.
I met Ted, I think I was 20. He was like 18. We were both students at Berkeley. And I don't know, he seemed real cool. We hit it off. I mean, we always we're kind of into the free jazz and the 60s, and but also have a kind of populist, a populist take on it, you know. I mean, we were always listening. Well, it's kind of because of Ted that I really started listening to a lot of different kinds of music, you know, like a lot of hip hop and reggae and stuff like that. And he was kind of one of the only musicians I knew when I was in Boston who had who wasn't just a kind of a jazz bow, you know. He liked all kinds of music. And
you know, I just know that I want to have the group to have its own sound. And from what people tell me who've listened to the band and checked it out, that I get that comment a lot, that we're recognizable right away, that there's a group sound. If there's anything anybody tells me, they usually say the band has a sound, you know. And I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I do hear it, and that's really, for me as a musician, that's the most important thing. Even when I'm talking about individual musicians, it's first thing I hear is their sound on their instrument. They don't have to be able to be the best technicians or the fastest players or whatever, but they have to have a great sound, you know. And I think that everybody in my band over the years has had that. And when you put all those things together, all those great sounds together, I think the group ends up hopefully with a great sound, you know.
I guess I don't think I have the best chops, you know, and the most technically proficient drummer in the world, you know. But I try to get more at just the heart of the music and try to get more the heart of the rhythms. And I think I have a more organic sort of approach to playing. I try to say more with less. So if you hear in our music, you know,
there's different influences rhythmically, you know, it's just because, I don't know, I'm a drummer and I'm into rhythms, you know. And I don't categorize and separate music so much in those terms. Like, oh, this music's from Nigeria, and this music's from Jamaica, and this music's from Brazil, so I can only do this, you know. To me, it's all universal, you know.
It's not just to be, you know, one single-minded, you know, but to let a lot of things in and to not say, well, we're just a jazz band, or we just play free, or we just play dub, or we just play, you know, Afro pop. I don't think you have to just nail it into one thing, you know. It just, I mean, it is one thing because it's one unit, but it's like a cornucopia, you know. I mean. I love the band for that because, you know, it taps into so many different emotions, you know.
Do you think that it's still a big characteristic of playing the Rebel Souls is implementing those different varieties of music and different genres?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's,
Yeah.
As far as the other styles and mixing it in, you know, in the end, I want the band to sound like the band. So if we play a reggae influenced tune like we play, or, you know, Afro pop or Latin or whatever, I don't want to sound like a reggae band and then an Afro pop band and then a Latin band and then whatever band. I want to sound like my band, you know, incorporating this into our sound. So hopefully it comes across like that. I don't know.
that's a cool thing about, I like this band because it's vast, you know, the palette is vast, as it were, you know, and so we might go into some groove and then we might totally deviate from that and try to do something with a lot of velocity, with texture, and sometimes just a lot of energy. And I'm really inspired by a lot of the Motown stuff from the 50s and 60s, and I love a lot of those singers like Sam and Dave and Donny Hathaway. Donny Hathaway was later 70s, or late 60s, early 70s. Just a lot of varied stuff, you know, a lot of jazz stuff, but lots of groove music, you know, just whatever, reggae. And
who are some of the musicians that really you know, inspired you, motivated you as a guitar player, as a human?
Man, I mean, I could name like 100 or probably 1,000 like historical figures, but I mean, ultimately it's whoever I'm playing with, you know. I'm feeding off of their energy and trying to give it back, you know. That's basically it. I mean, it's inspiring just to play with like good musicians, you know. That's what keeps me going. For me, I play and interact with other musicians just for like, it's for my own, I won't say it's not therapeutic, but it's more like, it just helps me like as a musician, like, because, you know, you're playing and being creative and like finding new things, and it kind of just enhances my life. And if other people hear it, I mean, hopefully they'll get the same thing out of it, you know. It's more like you get into like this unknown space where it's like real and pure, and you know, where you kind of lose yourself and you're discovering new things, you know. That's the level I would always try and get to. Doesn't always happen, but